and we are back with another episode of the Vacuous Perspective. I'm Val, joined always by my partner in crime, Nate. Nate, feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit more refreshed. When you first said that, I was wondering what you were on about. I was like,
I wonder if you know if your legs are feeling okay from doing 400-ish Ks last week.
The legs are feeling better, but I actually got crook after that as well, so I think I was a bit run down.
Yeah, well, isn't that pretty standard?
Yeah.
What was the flight like? Are we talking masks on whole time, flight from France?
Masks on the whole time. I was with Emirates, and I think they've got really strict. Their local laws are all masks and things like that. So I think that all then applies to the aircraft.
Yep, and France. What was the mask life like in
Did not
France?
see one mask at all.
Didn't see one mask in France. Wow,
no, they don't even utter the word COVID.
Well, you wouldn't have seen any in our ladies' city because they're all the old people and stuff. But I understand what you're saying from a tourism perspective. They're like, no such. We don't even talk about it anymore.
Well, although there were no masks in France, there were some of the elderly were wearing masks because they're old.
In our ladies' city?
In our ladies' city.
Wow.
But, they've always got the holy water to back them up, so I don't really know what they're worried about.
They're in the presence of Mother Mary. She's not going to let something like that happen. She's not going to let you get COVID, dude. She
won't let it happen to one of her own. No way.
Or maybe it's just the belief from the people who are at these places thinking, no, it's all good, but maskless because Mother Mary's protecting me.
Something like that. I've had a little miracle actually myself.
No way. From the water?
I haven't used any of the water. I didn't buy any water for myself. I did buy two, but I'm going to give one to you, and I've decided to give one to our ex-housemate as well.
Oh, that's excellent.
Because I figure I don't need it. I've had my miracle. My chair squeaks, right? So I'm rocking back and forth on my chair here.
I see that.
Yeah, normally I try not to move.
Yeah, because it makes noise, right? Okay.
And it makes noise. And the microphone's so damn efficient at picking up the noise that you hear it through the...
of course.
So I've been sitting like stationary without trying not to move for how many hours have we done now?
Oh, I don't know, 14, 15, 16 hours. I don't know.
We do an hour and a half. So like what?
Yeah, that's the maths.
24 hours. I've been like in this torturous, but now I'm mobile.
Okay, now we're relaxed.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped. So WD-40, I just banged a bit of that. I just sprayed the screws on the bottom, not even knowing if it's going to do anything. Because how does you think that it wouldn't be able to get into the screw area, right?
Sure.
Like I'm not a mechanical engineer or anything.
No, of course.
So I just sprayed a bit of that on. Didn't do anything else, and wiped around the screws, just the what do you call it, the nut of the screw or whatever, the bulb of the screw.
Okay, and
now,
yeah, wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I've had my own miracle. I don't need the holy water.
Did we talk about WD-40 on the podcast, or did you call me and tell me a story about the front door of your house and how WD-40 changed the way you exit and enter your house? Did this happen? Because I've been thinking about this a bit lately. I repeat myself already at the best of times, just in normal how you going conversation. I'm going to be repeating myself.
Look, I think we just chatted about it. I think we chatted about it in real life. On the telephone. But what I can check the transcript. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll tell you if we talked about it. In summary, I can refresh your memory. We battle, me and the girlfriend here absolutely battle the front door. We just go in through the garage because the front door, firstly, you have to put in a code into a little lockbox, right? And that lockbox is all fucking jammed up and shitty, okay? Because it's metal, and metal just corrodes. So firstly, that's a problem. If you do manage to extract the key from that, then you've got to try and plow it into this another rusty I mean, it doesn't look rusty, but it's never had any care in its life, and it's an old house, must be like 50 years old or something. And then you got to ram the key into this thing, and then you have to get two hands onto the. It's just one key. It's just one key with the ordinary key. Stick that, and then you got both hands on this key.
Oh my god!
And you're jiggling and turning, and sometimes you just have to stop and like swear a little bit and be like, "Oh, fuck!" Go back in, and then eventually open the door, and it's like, and then
yeah, what a door!
To shut it, you've got to because there's like a deadbolt type thing, so it automatically locks. But for that to activate, you got to slam the door, and the whole house shakes.
Far out, man. Okay, so
the girlfriend's dad was coming in. Like when he comes and goes, he loses his shit. He's like, man, what? He's like, this thing needs some WD-40, and he was the one that got me onto it.
Got you onto WD-40.
Yeah, and I thought
the miracle, right? The miracle.
This is more of a miracle than the good stuff.
Yeah, possibly. Must have been blessed.
And then the reason I didn't use it before is I wasn't a believer
in the WD-40.
In the WD-40.
Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't a believer because I thought, what's this going to do? It's a spray. It looks like deodorant.
It's shit. And what's it going to do?
So what I did is I just sprayed a little bit on the deadbolt. Started like wiggling it a bit. I sprayed it into the keyhole. Just wiped it with a paper towel. I sprayed it on the lockbox combination thing, gave that a little fiddle, and then lo and behold,
a miracle occurred.
An actual miracle occurred.
It's amazing.
And now I don't go through the garage. I carry things in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
I put in the code. I extract the key with one hand, just with two fingers. I open the front door. It slides open. And then I shut it with one hand, and the house doesn't shake. Yeah.
Oh my god!
It gives me a smile just doing it. So get some WD-40 in your life.
We're not sponsored.
Well, I would be if they want to sponsor me. I'll talk it up even more. I just put it on my chair.
WD-40. You know the story of WD-40. You must have done a bit of research on this now.
I don't know the story behind it, but I understand. What I do know is it stands for water displacement 40.
Yes.
And I was told on good authority that it was the 40th combination or trial they did with whatever it is. So they started with WD-1.
Had 39 goes. Yeah.
Had 39 goes, and then they banged, and this one worked. It's the miracle. Well, you just spray it on stuff and it fixes it. Doesn't matter what it is. You could spray it on a Rubik's Cube and like it would just solve it. And then
wow. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle in a bottle.
Unbelievable. And, that sort of harks back to Edison, right? He's like, I didn't invent a light bulb. He was something like, I managed to find 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So his LB light bulb 150, LB 150, that's the one, that was the one.
Light bulb, 9,000. And yeah.
The 10,000, that sounds pretty good. Well, he did work hard at it.
How much better would the light bulb 10,000 sound?
Yeah, but that just means that like either a guy dedicated his life or he found a whole bunch of ways to not do a light bulb. Like it makes me want to see LB1 and maybe LB 1000. I want to see the progression.
Well, I think apparently he tried everything. I'd like to know what he tried. Well,
first of all, we should verify at least if we can whether or not he did say that, because that would be a good starting point if he did say, I found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. But I don't know.
Did he not say that? I just took that as.
I'm just going off. Let's
just say he said it. Sounds good. Don't doubt yourself. I tested no fewer than 6,000 vegetable growths and ransacked the world for the most suitable filament material. That is in quotation marks, but I don't know who said it. I assume it's Edison.
Okay, so I actually have the quote. He says about the invention of the light bulb, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 that won't work. So
that's a good attitude. It's actually quite a story of success. There's another quote I've got here that also isn't actually, it must be from Edison, but it's not like attributed to him in what I mean. The electric light has caused me the greatest amount of study and has required the most elaborate experiments, he wrote. That's in inverted commas. Then inverted commas start back up. I was never myself discouraged or inclined to be hopeless of success. I cannot say the same for all my associates. Wait, so what, were there other people having a go at this?
Absolutely. Weren't there like three big guys who were big into the electricity at the time? It was probably like Nikola Tesla, Edison, the other bloke, getting around it.
Let's just say Einstein, because he looks like he's been electrified.
Yeah, well.
But he was well after, right?
Yes.
I think. I have a very good quote now that we're on Thomas Edison quotes.
Oh, good. Let's have it.
Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
Ooh, wow. Got to sweat it out. Well, that makes sense, right?
It's a good one. I really like that. I'm going to roll that one out at some point. I mentioned spraying WD-40 on a Rubik's Cube. I forgot to get a Rubik's Cube for the plane.
Oh, you didn't do it?
I didn't do it.
Okay. But I forgot I gave you that homework.
I know. I forget all my homework. But I think we touched on it briefly last week, I think. And at least I realised when I chatted to you last week I didn't have one. Yeah. So I went to Kmart, like you told me to do.
Okay.
And I found a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
And the first one I picked up, it was called a Rubik's Cube. And it was $15 or $16. I thought that's a bargain.
Official Rubik's Cube? I mean, is there unofficial Rubik's Cubes? Can people just make Rubik's Cubes?
I think Rubik's Cube is a brand name. I think they've got a monopoly. But then, right, I came across another one. And it doesn't look like, you know how the Rubik's Cube's black with the, like, kind of, it almost looks like stickers or something?
Yeah, they are stickers.
Yeah. Well, this one, I got a thing called a Next Cube.
Okay. Well, what's the difference?
Well, the difference is it's $9.
Hello.
It looks slightly different. I think it looks better. And the world record was set on this.
What?
It says on the packaging, so I don't think it's lying, unless it's a different version of their thing. But it says 3.47 on it. And I was like, what's that? It's like, you could tell it's like a little advertising thing. And you read the back and it says, Next Cube, we did it. They're like claiming the world record almost. And it feels amazing. I'm playing with it now.
But they're also, you know, if the pros, right, they would go through Rubik's Cubes. The way that they train, like with the intensity that they train in, they'd go through a lot of Rubik's Cubes. So they would have to go for a cheap option. Otherwise, you're just throwing away money. Right?
The ferocity.
Yeah, dude, 3 seconds. This guy's flying. He's going through 3 Rubik's Cubes a week training.
Do you reckon if you go hard enough on it, if you really jam it, you can just rip it apart?
Yeah, absolutely. And I seem to have a memory from my childhood of a Rubik's Cube in our family where the stickers had clearly been taken off and
you can't do that.
Back on.
You can't. No. So you said your brother's good at Rubik's cubing. I reckon he's a fraud.
It was probably before his time, so I think it's fair. But I think all right. Let's say you take 3 stickers and you shift their positions on the Rubik's cube. Have you made that Rubik's cube unsolvable now?
I think you might have. I've been thinking about this more now because I still don't know how to do it. But I figured out that the middle middle dot or whatever is always fixed, okay? So you need to get, when you look at a cube, you can only ever see three faces of it and you can't see the other three faces. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're looking at a cube.
Yeah.
So let's say the middle splodge of each one of those faces you can see. Say it's like blue in the top left, white in the top right, orange in the bottom. The point of the cube between them all that it shares, that one has to be the cube. There'll be one square that has blue on one side, white on one side, and orange on one side. So I need to find that one, and I need to get that one into that position because it's that all those corners. I'm not explaining this, but I probably have to show you with a Rubik's Cube because I'm looking at a Rubik's Cube right now. So you're probably trying to imagine this and makes no fucking sense. But yeah, that's what you need to do. See, I think you need to get those corner ones kind of at least in position in the right line, and then you start pulling. I don't know yet. You start pulling moves to get to sort of scoot the other ones around. Do you know what I mean? Without upsetting those corner ones too much.
And this is just by you playing around with it, right? This is what you've sort of got out of it so far. Or have you been watching some tutorial videos? Or
I have not watched one tutorial video. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. So, like, that could be complete bullshit.
Who knows, man? Maybe you can set a world record for the fastest three-sided cube solve.
Is it like can I solve this? I wonder if I can solve this without any assistance.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah,
do you reckon I'll just one day figure it out?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Hard. It's really, really hard. At the moment, it just seems to all jumble.
I would feel like I was doing the same thing over and over again, like as in I was messing it up.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
The whole time, just jumble. And if I felt like I was going to get any progress, I feel like I would immediately unjumble it, like wreck it.
Yeah, that's what I mean about you have to be doing controlled moves. So once you have things, because what you want to do is
– no, man, you just got to flick it around for 3.94 seconds and hopefully get lucky. Just go, how much movement can you get in 3.9 seconds or whatever? Just go and get it to there and be like, all right, so some jerk solved it in this time.
Actually, you're onto something because the slower I do it, because apparently there's on the back of this Next Cube packet when I bought it, it said how many combinations there are, and it was 42. Looked like it must have been like billion or something like that.
How?
Yeah, it's huge. Wait, let me get it. Wait, Next Cube. So what I need to do is I need to stop wasting time and just start jumbling as fast as possible. Because every one of those, every time I jumble it, that's a new. I've knocked off that one. You know, the Edison did. He said that it's perspiration. Rather than genius. Yeah, I just need to fucking want it and like get lots of.
You don't want to get angry at it. That's how they go through 3 a week. You know what I mean? You don't want to get angry at the Rubiks.
Well, the other thing with this Next Cube is it moves. You know, I said I wanted one and that moves smoothly.
Yeah, you want one that's comfortable.
This thing's a fucking dream.
Yeah, well, it should be. The world record people use it. They love it.
It's like frictionless.
So what you should do, right, because I'm wondering, right, if you were going to a Rubik's Cube tournament, you can't BYO Rubik's Cubes, right? They would provide Rubik's Cubes. But how do you know that, like, you're not just 2 things away from solving it, from the start? And you're like, bang, 3.94 seconds. Yeah, just had to go schlump and schlumpies and we're done.
Apparently there is a minimum number of turns, jumbles you need to do to qualify for it to be like mixed up.
If you're jumbling it, aren't you controlling the jumbles? Can't you just unjumble that?
I know. Then you're right.
Unjumble that, be back to the starting point, and then books.
Yeah, if they can solve a Rubik's Cube in 3.47 seconds, they can remember 15 moves.
I'm confused as to how this sport works. Like you talked last time about the guy who was not only unjumbling Rubik's Cubes, but he was juggling them at the same time, right? So the only way that works for me is if it's almost solved and he's just juggling, schlicky blicky, little flicky, juggle, little flicky here, boom, solved, right? I just don't know how you qualify a jumbled Rubik's Cube.
Okay, get this. I don't understand either. I have no idea. I'm with you. It says there are 43 quintillion possible configurations of the cube. What's a quintillion? Good question. It's 1,000 raised to the power of 6, 10 to the power of 18. What kind of 1,000 raised to the power of 6? What is that? Just 10 to the power of 18. But get this.
I'm trying to get.
Cop this one. Wrap your walnut around this. A group of mathematicians showed using a bank of supercomputers at Google that any cube could be solved in at most 20 moves.
How? What does that mean?
You can't tell me there's 43 quintillion.
I'll give you an example. I have a fully solved Rubik's Cube. All right?
Oh, what right now?
No.
Okay.
I've got a fully solved Rubik's Cube in my hands, and I go, I'm going to jumble it for you to solve, right?
Yeah.
I give it 5 moves, 5 jumblies. Now I hand you this. This is now Fisher and Price's my first Rubik's Cube experiment, right? Would you be able to solve it if I'd only unjumbled it 5 goes, 5 zippies?
Okay. I would have to do the exact moves you did in reverse.
Okay.
I don't think I'm capable of figuring out what the first move is. If you did that in another room, came in and I was blindfolded and gave that to me, I reckon I could look at it for quite some time.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I think I'd have an idea. I'd think to myself, maybe I could do this.
Yeah.
And maybe that 5 is, I reckon I could do it if you did 3.
Yeah,
if you only had 3 moves.
Sure.
Yeah. But 5, look, I think we're getting into my little brain will be too confused.
Okay. There are 2 popular methods to scramble a cube, right?
How many?
2.
2.
Like 2 popular ways, right?
How's there even 2? Okay.
If you're willing to take the time, the World Cube Association has a specific method for shuffling their cubes. They use a program. It generates a sequence, right? I don't get this
a sequence.
at all, bro.
It's the same.
I don't get this at all. What I'm looking at here on this website is absolute nonsense.
But if you jumble it up the same every time.
Exactly. You know how to solve it.
You just learn the reverse. Man, we've cracked Rubik's Cube. I reckon Rubik's Cubes are just a complete fraud. I don't think you can solve them.
Massive scam.
And then we're watching all these people doing it in 3.47 seconds. But the reality is that they've just remembered the combination.
Which is still impressive. Unless they did it. Unless they scrambled it. If they scrambled it in an approved method and handed it to the judges and said, here's my scrambled cube, and they go, yep, that is definitely a scrambled cube. It fits all the bill. Like, that's fine. It's a scrambled cube. Solve it. And he goes, sloppy. How does he do 25 moves in 4 seconds?
Maybe that one, maybe you get a lucky cube. So sometimes.
Come on, man. The computer at Google said it can do it in a minimum of 25 moves, right?
No. Any cube can be solved in no more than 20 moves.
Oh, so Google took up to 20 moves to solve any cube.
It can, if you use a supercomputer.
I'm with you.
It can look at it. But I think that's even crazy. That blew me away. Because, I mean, you're right. If it was more than 20 moves and you did it in 3 point, what's that like? It's a move every 1/5 of a second.
Exactly. It's not happening.
I reckon it's possible, but you'd have to know. No, you can do it. You can do it if you know exactly what you're doing.
No. 20 moves.
Yeah, well, that's at most. So that's what I mean about you getting a lucky cube.
Yeah,
You could get one, and you could realize you're like, I'm on here.
Yeah,
This is a 10. This is a 10 mover.
I don't get it, man. Because if I was second place for the world record and you pip me with the easiest cube ever and you look over at me and you go, hey, man, just took your world record. I'll go, man, you're the easiest cube ever. Yeah, shut up with that shit. You got the easiest cube ever, bro. I'd be so bitter is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, there's luck involved with everything, right?
Yeah.
It's a luck element.
I don't like a luck element in a thing where you can set world records in under 4 seconds. Surely you'd just do it 24/7, with the recording on, ready to ship to Guinness World Records. You get the lucky cube, you scramble it, unscramble it, boom, done.
Yeah, you're right. They don't start running 100 meters one day and like one day it's 95 meters.
Exactly. They're shifting the goalposts.
Because even if you have a tailwind of a certain amount, they can your world record. If you have a tailwind of over, I think it's 2 meters a second, you cannot set the world record.
Oh, in the 100 meters?
In the 100, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they treat it like a assistance.
Why have I never seen that come up in the Olympics? Is because the stadiums would be like they'd be built to withstand the external wind.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen it in the Olympics before either, but I know in smaller regional events, people have won. There's been times where someone's broken the world record and it doesn't count because of the assistance.
That's crazy. Man, I'd be looking outside going, fuck, it looks pretty windy out there today. How good's this? Which way is it going? Oh, it's going the right way. Let's go.
Hey, what happened to your boy Artemis?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's girl.
Your girl Artemis didn't get up last night.
No, she engine problem.
Engine problem.
So they've postponed till Friday at this point. As of recording, they're planning to launch it on Friday.
Yeah, that was for some reason that was getting a lot of media attention. I don't know if it's because of James Webb. I mean,
no, it's not because of James Webb, bro.
No, but there's an interest in spacey things.
No, it's the biggest news event in the history of the world is the moon landing.
Yeah, but we're sending an unmanned craft to the moon. This
is the new Apollo program. They did up to Apollo at least 11 when Tom Hanks was in that movie. But no, they did like 20 missions for the Apollo mission. Isn't Artemis 3 going to take people on a flyby? Astronauts on a flyby, bro.
Yeah, they're at least doing a flyby. Yeah,
that's on Artemis 3. They're flying by. There's got to be a landing component that's going to come up in the Artemis program. So possibly
You'd think so.
They're trying to lay the groundwork to be able to build a launch pad on the moon to shoot to Mars. So that's the end game.
Oh, is that a part of it, is it? Is that what is?
That's the end game of the program, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Launching from Mars, you don't need to basically carry all that damn fuel up.
Well, the moon's a lot smaller than the Earth, so it's very hard getting off this rock. I don't know, they have to sort of explode shit to get up there. Whereas if you're already up there, a little bit of a push. Yeah, a little bit of a push, and here we go.
Get a real big trampoline, put the rocket on it, bounce, double jump it.
Yeah. So we're looking at a 42-day journey for the spacecraft, unmanned.
That seems like a long time. Was it that amount of time for the Apollo ones?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going up particularly. I don't think we're trying to go faster. I think we're trying to get there.
It's not a race.
Wow.
So the I didn't know what it was called. They call it the Space Launch System. I was reading about this in that space.com sort of emails I get.
Yeah, okay.
And apparently it's the most powerful rocket ever built.
Yeah.
And it's never left Earth's gravity before.
Yeah.
Which kind of weirded me out because I thought you would have to have done, I know that it's not a crewed mission, but don't you have to, doesn't a part of the testing involve getting this thing into outer space?
This is the test.
But, okay, so you got all the media coverage. You're
It's
already
unmanned.
anticipation. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unmanned, and then what happens if it blows up? If it launches and blows up? So the next
It's gonna be
Artemis
real
2,
bad.
where
Yeah.
we're supposed to be sending some people, they're going, hey, but
Artemis 3.
what about the?
Yeah, no, you're dead right, and so you're not actually the first person who said that to me today. But what you think it's going to blow?
Well, I mean, at least test it.
I think they've done testing on it, right? They wouldn't even have the program without a testing.
Apparently, all they did is in June, they filled it up fully, and they said it did what it needed to do to get certified for the flight. The rest they can sort out later.
Tick the box.
They just had to make sure it didn't have a like a leak or anything like that.
Okay.
It was called a wet dress rehearsal.
Oh. All right, excellent. So Friday then, I guess it's going up, is it?
It's back on. It's back
on, right.
You know they're sending Amazon's Alexa is one of the passengers.
Why?
In the sense that it reminds me of Space Odyssey, right? 2001 Space Odyssey.
Up a robot, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, if I'm the crew, okay, you're like, okay, so you're not going to test the rocket.
Yeah.
And you're going to send me up with sort of Space Odyssey type situation going on. Where the robot,
the rocket.
What do you mean?
Who's saying this?
The astronauts that are going to be going up later.
Right, sure.
Love. On. This is actually going to start up. Sorry. Love. Yeah. This is going to. Surely the moon landing conspiracy stuff's going to be opened up, right?
Like it's going to be popping off, man. It's going to be popping off in those sort of channels. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm surprised I haven't seen more about it.
Here's what's great. Artemis 3 goes up. Artemis 3 is not a lander. It's a flyby. It's like what we talked about when you book the tickets for the moon honeymoon, the honeymoon moon trip, and if you just booked the flyby because you're like, we can't commit to it costs too much to stay at the resort on the moon's surface. We're just going to do the flyby.
Looking at it is as good as a holiday as going there, right?
That's what I mean. And on the third night or whatever, when you're flying by, you get a nice dinner and you're looking out the window and you can see all, the beautiful, right?
Because then you do that all the time, right? France, I was considering just doing a little flyby and then coming back home.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's all you need. That's all you need.
You'd see the families playing volleyball and cricket on the moon surface and you go, dude, we should have booked the moon stay. That's what these astronauts are going to feel on this flyby, man. There's a scene probably in Apollo 13, that movie. Is it Apollo 11 or Apollo 13? Apollo 13, where he's an astronaut. He wanted to be an astronaut his whole life. He finally is going to the moon. He's so excited. And then the shit on the spaceship happens and they end up saying, look, best chance is we're just going to try and get you back home. No moonies, no moonsies, you're not going to the moon. And he looks out the window and has this flyby,
Oh no.
He has this moment of looking at it and being like, it's right there. I'm fucking 275,000 kilometers from Earth. It's right there and I can't go to it. And so the Artemis 3 guys, they've been training their whole lives. They've been working their whole lives. Being an astronaut's tough. It's physically challenging. It's all the rest. They just get to do the flyby, bro. No landsies.
The biggest. I'm surprised they're not doing landsies.
They will do landsies later.
Yeah, but this is the big the one, like, I love the moon landing conspiracy, but the biggest and best one is that we just haven't gone back since 72. That is so.
I thought the biggest and best one was that they don't have any of the telemetry data. It's gone. NASA do not have it. And even if they did, they don't have the technology to read it. And they say, we can't recreate this technology.
I don't know if that's a fact. They don't have the telemetry. I don't know if that's a fact.
They don't have it. They don't have it.
But I mean, let's just take the fact. A fact is that we haven't been back for 50 years.
That is a fact. No one. Yeah.
50 years. Do you know what was going on when they first landed? So we only landed 6 crewed missions between 69 and 72. What was a computer in 69?
Oh, I heard this stat the other day. There's more technology in a key fob for a car than the spaceship.
Really?
Like, the little thing that tells you that you're near your car and unlocks the car for you, and then you put the key in the ignition or whatever, and you just turn on the car. There's more tech in that than all of the Apollo shit.
Okay, in 1973, 1 year after they closed down the crewed missions to the moon, the Xerox Alto was released. This has 96 kilobytes of memory. What's like? How much RAM does your phone have?
Gigabytes.
Gigabytes. So we're talking 100,000 times more powerful. Your phone's 100,000 times more powerful than the computer that came out a year after the last landing. This thing looks like it's a shopping trolley. It barely resembles anything you'd be familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just a computer, right? Other technology will be similarly dated, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all moved along. Yeah.
Xerox Alto, that's hilarious. But apparently, I saw the other day that 20% of Americans, 25% of Britons, and 28% of Russians surveyed believed that the moon landing was faked.
Yeah.
Moon landings.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. But I think there's some great arguments for it being faked. Like there's some interesting bits for it being faked. But what I can't get away from, there's a couple of things. There's three things that I think lock it up for me personally.
Sorry, that the moon landings did happen.
No, yeah, that did happen. Yeah,
that it did happen. Yeah. Go on.
The Russians, right? They would have cried foul if the US faked this.
Yeah.
How good would proving a hoax be for their propaganda campaign? Like they're in the space race with the US.
100%.
So if there was a crack, if there was a shred, if they could prove it, if something came up and they can prove it, it's game over.
I think it's a really good line of inquiry. Was Russia investigating whether or not
they're monitoring. Apparently, they were monitoring.
Yep.
Because they had, I mean, they that's the weird thing. They were actually leading the space race until the landings. They the first man in the first animal in orbit, the first human, first woman. They had huge amounts of hours in space.
I think Sputnik was the first thing to orbit the planet as well.
Yes, they had the first satellite. But then they could never do a crewed mission to the moon, which is kind of bizarre.
That sort of leans towards it being faked again.
Oh, exactly. It certainly does. So that's what I mean. There's great arguments for it being fake. But so one is the Soviets would have cried foul, and they were monitoring this closely because this is their competitor. The other one is this conspiracy would involve 500,000 people. How many people were involved in NASA and the government and all this shit going on?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Apparently no one from the US government or NASA has ever said that they were hoaxes.
Yep.
Someone after 50 years is coming out.
Well, time is now before we find out for real if it's real or not.
The time is now. If any of you out there listening,
if you know someone who knows something.
And the last one that I think locked it away for me, this was the final nail in the coffin, but I still entertain. There's some cool stuff. Is the fact that we now have orbiters. We now have things that have looked at the moon and shown the landing modules and other stuff left behind.
Oh, you could chuck that down there.
You could. But that's a mission in itself, right? I think it is. that's starting to, I guess, make it. You certainly could. You certainly could.
If you're interested in another rabbit hole, there's another good one. It's surrounding the discovery of nuclear weapons by humans and the use of them.
Yes.
And the UFO phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
So roughly around the same time, two questions get asked about it. Is it a case of the aliens going, holy shit, what are these guys doing down here with these nukes, right? Let's go and check it out. Or it's we got one of their craft spaceships and it sort of led a technological revolution that ended with the nukes and then whatever else. The UFO stuff is fascinating to me just because there's so much shit out there. Every day there's a new thing. Like you could find stuff. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that's. I haven't heard the one about us finding something that would lead us down that path. That's interesting.
Well, not down that path, but all paths. Like it was a
the tech
technological
tree.
boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because it was pretty big. It was a pretty big shift. Yeah. So the thing that stands out to me is I don't know if we were messing with uranium or plutonium back at that time, but Einstein's E equals mc squared equation, when he came up with that, one of his students apparently came to him and suggested that that equation suggests that you would be able to make some kind of a bomb out of, matter, presumably. And he said that he didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that before on a previous episode about this student. Yeah.
Right.
He essentially said you can make a bomb out of this, and he went, yeah, whatever.
And later he acknowledged he was wrong and that it was – he didn't think that for whatever reason he didn't think the math stacked up. That despite the equation, you wouldn't be able to, I guess, make a bomb out of it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But, so what I was saying is it's kind of like it seemed like a natural path for us to go down that way to making nuclear bombs. Like it seemed like we always were in a way.
But it seems like such a big step up in terms of other like you can't compare any other weapon to an atomic weapon. You know, everything that they've built up until then, like, oh, cool, you got a tank, what does it do? Bang, look, that thing's gone. Brilliant. Next, we've made this bomb. What does it do? Drop it on this, boom, gone. Look at that. Brilliant. What do we got next? Oh, you're going to love the next one. My mate, he was talking about some E equals MC rubbish or whatever. Fucking wait till you get a look at this sucker. And they set off the first nuke. And I think they didn't even know what was going to happen.
It's just orders of magnitude above any other explosion.
But they didn't know there was potential that it could really fuck shit up. They just didn't know.
What it's like is when you're young, you make a smoke bomb out of a ping pong ball and some alfoil. Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay.
They're really fun. It'd be like going from that and then pulling a pin out of a grenade.
Yeah.
And the difference in destruction and damage.
Yeah.
Do you know that some crazy lunatic was considering using nukes to propel spacecraft?
To propel spacecraft. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, not just nuclear power.
Tiny nuclear explosions behind the craft.
What's a tiny nuclear explosion though? Like, because you need a critical mass for an explosion. I think a tiny nuclear explosion is still pretty damn big.
Well, when I imagine the tiny explosions out the back of this spacecraft, I'm actually just seeing little tiny little explosions, like really small, right? Because although movies don't really go into great detail on how space travel works in their movies, they will just show the engine, whatever it is, and it's emitting some blue light, and it flies. That's sort of what I think is going on there. They've got these mini nukes going on for their space propulsion, you know? That's how I would imagine.
Okay, what I was imagining is some huge, like, protective dome thing behind you.
Yes.
And you literally detonate, like, maybe at 2 kilometers behind you, you detonate a nuke and you just hope that it doesn't rip your spacecraft apart, but you just accelerate like the shock blast of a nuclear bomb. Yeah,
you fly out of Earth's atmosphere. You look at the ensign or whatever, the guy who's driving the boat, and he goes, you ready? Oh, fuck. No, give it a sec. Just wait a bit. We'll do the nuke stuff in a second. You know, he goes, look, it's kind of why we're here, to do this bit. Oh, fuck. All right, go. Launching nuke at 2Ks.
I wonder if it would look like when you're in the Millennium Falcon and it goes into light speed. Hey, that actually reminds me. You've heard this. This ties into the moon landing conspiracy. One of the big ones that I think is put out there by the conspiratists is that there's this thing called the Van Allen radiation belt.
Yes.
Which basically makes the trip impossible in their view because there's too much. The cosmic rays and the rest of it are too damaging.
It's a really dangerous place to be, apparently.
To add a little bit of sauce to that, apparently what even makes it more energetic is just in 1962, so a few, 7 years before we went up, there was this high altitude nuclear test called Starfish Prime. And that apparently released so much high altitude radiation that it was still swimming around up there. And that people say that you couldn't have gone because of the Van Allen radiation and the high energy radiation that still remains from, or the radiation at least from Starfish Prime.
Which was a space detonation of a nuke.
Yeah, of a nuke.
That would have got the aliens'
high
attention.
altitude. Yeah, so this is Wikipedia. Starfish Prime was a high altitude nuclear test conducted by the United States, a joint effort of the Atomic Energy Commission and the Defense Atomic Support Agency. It was launched from blah blah blah. Fucking atoll. We don't give a shit about that. It was the largest nuclear test conducted in outer space and one of 5 conducted by the US in space. You since can't do this. This is like against international law. There's like a
don't nuke
apparently
space
it's
law.
really damaging to the space environment.
Yeah.
A Thor rocket carrying a W-49 thermonuclear warhead and a MK, I guess that's Mach 2 re-entry vehicle was launched from the atoll, blah, 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 blah.
I know what happened. What year was that?
That was 1962.
Yeah, we launched a nuclear weapon at a mothership. We were saved by some brave people back in 1962 by a Stargate level threat, an Apophis pyramid shaped UFO thing in the fucking outer parts of the planet, and they pretty much got on the megaphone and went, "Y'all fuck down there," and some people nuked space one time, like 5 times to deal with this otherworldly threat.
Do you know the Starfish test was one of there was 5 tests. Apparently all of them grouped together are known as Operation Fishbowl.
Oh. Yeah, good name. I mean, it's good. It's covert. Far out.
Can you imagine if that's your job? I come home from work and
pop your hat on the hat stand.
Ask me about how work was and stuff. You imagine being like, I'm working on this bomb.
Yeah, we're
blowing
working
it
on
up in
space nukes.
Yeah, space nukes.
Yeah. That's quite amazing.
See, look at this, right? So this is After Effects on Wikipedia. While some of the energetic beta particles followed the Earth's magnetic field and illuminated the sky, other high-energy electrons became trapped and formed radiation belts around the Earth. There was much uncertainty and debate about the composition, magnitude, and potential adverse effects from the trapped radiation after the detonation. The weaponeers became quite worried when 3 satellites in low Earth orbit were disabled. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that's a bit of sauce to it.
If you've sent up a nuke into space and it started fucking with satellites, phones are going off. Someone's getting a phone call if you're knocking out satellites.
Yeah, well, if as long as it's not a satellite phone call.
Oh, yeah. No, this was the days where you plug them in.
The problem with this Van Allen radiation belt theory is apparently even James Van Allen himself has rebutted the claims that the radiation levels are too harmful for the Apollo missions.
Yep.
So if the guy who the belt is named after is going to say that it's okay, then...
there's a little sign of him just as you're about to go through the belt that says that Van Allen says it's cool.
Van Allen. Van Allen's okay. But then if we want to go even further, I saw that there's 3 mannequins in this uncrewed Artemis rocket when it does go up to measure radiation. So there's one called Helga and
they're
Zohar.
measuring radiation. That's what their purpose is?
That's what their purpose is. So they've got 5,600 sensors that measure the radiation. Zohar is wearing an Astro-Rad radiation protection vest to see how much of a difference it makes.
Excellent. Hey, this is good. It's all good science. I mean, we don't go up there very often. See, you know, in sci-fi movies, man, they travel around the universe like it's no big deal. Like they're zipping around from place to place. They never have to go, well, they might, you know, careful of this bit of space. It's fucked up in there. Don't go there. That bit's really bad. But we've got a bad bit between us and the moon, 237,000 kilometers away. We've got a bad bit.
Got a bad bit, yeah.
But apparently it's a fine bit.
Bad bits. I think they're everywhere. I think bad bits are everywhere. Because we've evolved on Earth, which has this, magnetic field that protects us from these things. Once you get out in the big bad world, you better come protected. You better be wearing all the condoms you bloody got in the drawer.
I guess what I'm saying is that the eventual plan of Artemis is obviously a mission to Mars from the moon, right?
Yeah.
So you're dealing with a much greater distance this time. It's not a 42-day journey or a 20-day journey or whatever. It's more of a 3-month journey, right? How many radiation belts are we going through to get to that fucking nightmare, you know, of a hellscape?
Maybe they're only around the Earth. Maybe they're concentrated around the Earth because I think that it's not uniform in space.
Mars would have a couple.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah. And then once you're on Mars, right, and you're not, does that have a magnetic field? What do you do on Mars? What's the radiation like there? Has anyone done the math?
I think the guy that they named Mars after, Dr. Mars, he said it's cool.
Dr. Mars.
He gave it his seal of approve. Hey, just you know how Mars, gods again. We're talking about.
Can you sue Mars though if he's wrong in his statement?
Well, he's a god.
Yeah, but I mean, does he have cash?
You bloody hope so, but nah, his religion's long since died out, unfortunately. So
if Mars tells me it's cool, if Dr. Mars, God Mars tells me it's okay,
I think that's
take
good
his
enough.
word for it in reliance.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
And someone like Jupiter, he'd be willing to tell you not to come to Jupiter. He'd go, do not bother coming here, bro.
Why not? Looks. I'd like to do a flyby on Jupiter at least.
Oh, you'd pick up some pace if you zipped around it. If you did a flyby, you'd be going quite quick. When you have your
your tea and crumpet.
Yeah. And it's gone.
I heard the other day that you know this. I had no idea. It blew my mind. I thought Star Trek might have, 100 episodes. How many episodes and how many seasons of Star Trek do you reckon there are?
Okay, are we talking about
all of it,
other things as well?
I'm talking the original series.
So there's probably
the animated series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, Discovery, Short Treks, Picard, Lower Decks, Prodigy, Strange New Worlds.
You want to know how many seasons of all them there are?
Yeah.
Oh boy. You said a lot of things then. And I know Deep Space Nine has at least like 10 or something. That's the only one that I know that many from because one of my housemates was really into Deep Space Nine.
Are they all very different? I think I've seen a bit of Next Gen.
I have no idea, man. When I was a kid, my mum and dad, they put on Star Wars and they more or less told me that we burn Star Trek stuff here in this house. We burn it.
That's kind of what I got.
And I don't get it because if they're both good, then both should be consumed, right? People get in the same line of thinking when they think about the Beatles and the Beach Boys. They think, I'm a Beatles fan, not a Beach Boys fan. Later figured out the Beach Boys are amazing, So
they're both great.
There's a lesson there.
They're both great. Yeah, like everything. Give everything a go.
Everything a go. 160 seasons.
Look, I like it. There's 43 seasons, 851 episodes. But that is crazy. And my mate who told me this reckons he's seen 90% of the episodes, and he thinks he's seen some of, like, I don't know which one, say Voyager, for example. He says he's seen, that's a bunch of seasons. He says he's seen the whole thing through 6 times.
That's amazing.
How many hours? So if he's rewatched a lot of these, so he's seen, let's say, 750 episodes. I don't know how long they are. I assume they're like 40 minutes.
750 episodes.
Well, I did 90% of 850.
But did he watch it all multiple times?
Well, he said, for example, he says he's seen 90% of the episodes, and a lot of the collection, a lot of the series of season. You know how like a series, like, or you know, a lot of the, for example, Next Generation might have like 8 seasons in it. Yeah. A lot of those series he's seen multiple times. For example,
big ones,
Voyager. Right. 6 times through completely.
Crazy amounts of time.
That's crazy. But you need to do that when you're young. You can't have 3 kids and decide you're going to watch 43 seasons of Star Trek.
I mean, you could.
Bit unfortunate for the children, but you certainly could.
I see what you're saying. No, they're asleep.
Oh, when they're sleeping.
It's Star Trek time. It's like his vice, you know, his thing. But no, I never really got into it. Never even saw a Star Trek movie until like the reboots.
Same. I saw one of them.
They were pretty good.
That was fine. So the biggest, I just want to sort of button the moon landing conspiracy stuff, because there's the biggest one for me that gets me on board with the whole conspiracy notion.
It gets you on board with it now.
Gets me on board. Yeah, well, there's certain things I like.
Of course.
I think I've made up my mind that it happened, but there's certain things I like. The one that really got my alarm bells ringing was, and I mentioned this to you before, but not recently, went to the Smithsonian Museum, the space one in Washington, and I was doing a bit of a guided tour in a group, and they have the sister aircraft or lunar module. They make everything in duplicate, and they send up one and they have a backup. And obviously if something happens to one of them, they might decide to send the backup unit. Yeah. But anyway, one of them went, and the sister unit they have in the museum, and she's pointing out all the features and all the cool stuff. And she points to the camera, one of the cameras near the ladders, and says that's where the video was taken of who was first? Was it Buzz or Neil Armstrong? And
come on, Clark, you don't know
I don't know
who walked on the moon first.
I don't give a shit. There's just the names. The names are.
You know, we're going to see someone do it in our lifetime. You know, because it's going to happen soon, right? You're going to see someone walk on the moon. It's going to be a thing when it happens.
Can you imagine what's the guy's name going to be? All girls. Do you reckon they'll send a girl?
What I'm waiting for is some nice. Get your camera out when you're on the moon. None of that shit that you had on the first one, right? Give me some updated tech on the cameras on the spacecraft. Take a camera with you.
Take some high resolution stuff, please.
So that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm excited about.
But the thing about this sister vehicle with the camera, she points out, she goes, this is where the footage was taken of Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. And then she says, and she goes, and she mentions in passing that they lost the footage. And then I was like, lost the footage? Like NASA's lost the original man walking on the moon footage. So when we were walking between exhibits, I went up to the lady and said, sorry, I heard you say, like, did you say that they've lost the footage? She says, yeah, NASA just lost it. They've lost the original. They don't know where it is.
Yeah, Australia's got it.
Why would Australia have it? We received this.
We were videoing it for them on our satellite feeds.
No, we were receiving the transmission, but there's an original
on our screen.
Yeah, and we videoed the transmission, but the original, there was an original footage. The video, we're talking about
the camera, right?
Yeah, the camera. This is the way we're talking about old technology. There was footage of the incident which has been lost.
That's crazy.
And they did this huge investigation into it. I was reading it on Wikipedia not so long ago, where NASA was like, no, we need to find this fucking footage. There was even a whole bunch of tapes at Curtin University they thought might be related to it. And the hundreds of tapes they sent over to NASA to be sort of,
what the hell?
Reviewed. Yeah, we couldn't find no one. They just don't know what's happened with the tapes.
Where's the tape? If you know where it is, email us.
Have a look. I've actually got 5 tapes that I need to get converted to digital format.
It could be on there.
Could be on there. I might have them.
We don't know.
We don't know. I don't know where I even got them from. I don't know what's in there. But that one really got me going because it's just the incompetency of it. I'm not saying this doesn't prove anything.
Totally.
But we're talking
did someone
about
steal it, or did they lose it? Like, what happened?
Yeah, maybe it got sold on the black market. Maybe Bezos has it and he just wanks over it or something because he's got the original footage.
Yeah, but maybe it's get the lander back in the workshop, right? Yeah, open it up. How's it looking? Oh, it's a bit dinged up, but it's okay. Where's the camera? Just there at the foot of the launch vehicle. Grab the camera out. Grab us the film, would you? No film. Where's the film? Don't know. How does this happen? How does this happen? Can't find it.
Can't find it.
Don't worry.
And the only 2 other things that kind of get me a little bit excited about it being potentially a hoax is, and this one's not strong, is that the US have given, well, firstly, they did fake a couple of photos for marketing material purposes. Like they took photos of Buzz or Neil in training and made it look like they're in space and things, and they've acknowledged later that it was just for convenience.
Yeah, like they did go up, trust us. Look, just these photos weren't on the moon.
Yeah. And so I'm like, well, you're faking some stuff, and so you're faking some things, but you say that's fake, and then
not faking the other stuff.
But you're not faking the other stuff.
No.
It's the same thing with moon rocks. They've given out proven fake moon rocks to I think the Dutch ambassador or something to the US. They gave him some petrified wood. Yep,
petrified wood, finest on the moon.
Apparently, there are other rocks that are confirmed to be like not of this world. So, they have apparently they've over those 6 moon missions they took 380 kilos of rocks, which seems like a lot, right?
Put them back. Am I right, guys? Put them back.
Wait, so 60 kilos of rocks per visit. Where are they finding these rocks? Are they just walking around in their space suits?
Just kicking around.
Oh, man, they're probably loading up that little dune buggy, the lunar vehicle.
You're 2 astronauts. You trained your whole life. You've been working on this since the day you got into the biz. And you look at your partner, you're driving around on the moon in your moon buggy. And, yeah, that would be kind of fun. But wouldn't you just look at each other and go, are we just collecting rocks and playing a spot of golf? Is that all we're doing up here? Yeah, that's it. Grab another few rocks, man. They're really light.
Rocks, yeah. Oh, yeah, they would be light, wouldn't they? Up there. So they got 60 kilos of rocks, but it would feel like 10 kilos because I think it's 1/6.
There'd be videos of them pretending they're real big bodybuilders, just lifting these big boulders with their one arm, just going, yes.
I'm surprised they didn't do any handstands or anything because I've always wanted to do a good handstand, but gravity doesn't work in my favor.
Well, I'll give you one reason. There was a guy, he was on one of the Apollo missions that actually landed on the moon, and he went to do a handstand as you suggested, and he's ripped open his suit, and he said, check this out, and then he goes for the handstand, and everyone says, no, and they're all slow motion waving their arms, and he goes for the handstand and clips his uniform open, and all of a sudden starts suffocating in space.
I want to do the first backflip.
Around at all in space. You would be firmly in your suit. There's no handstands, dude.
I would definitely do a backflip.
Oh, that's hilarious.
100% I'd do a backflip given the opportunity. And I'd also do those, the gymnasts do that little party trick where they're flipping their legs out like they look like they're breakdancing.
Oh, you're talking about the horse stuff?
Not on the horse. They do it on the floor.
You're talking about just a breakdancing move with the arms down, legs flailing everywhere.
Yeah, I'd do that in a spacesuit because it might, you can support your arms will be able to support the weight now.
Yeah, that'd be great. So we have, we got dreams. Nate's dream is to get on the moon and breakdance, and it's
and a backflip. Yeah, backflip
do a
and some
sweet
breakdancing.
backflip. Take the skatey up. Take a skateboard up. Do a fucking kickflip on the moon. You can be the first person to kickflip on the moon. You know what I mean?
Oh, triple kickflip. Hey, and
Provided you can
also-
land the kickflip. It'd be a bummer if you couldn't land the kickflip
it'd be
on
so
the day. You're just
embarrassing.
trying over and over again and you can't get it.
600 million people watched Neil Armstrong walk on the moon. Can you imagine 600 million people watching me park up a kickflip?
It's going to be way more than that. It's going to be way more than 600 million watching.
Yeah. Way more access to TV and things like that, and more people, right?
More people. Yep.
And the last thing that weirds me out about the moon is how weird Neil Armstrong is about it.
Yes, that's my favorite. The fact that he's been so silent over the years, never talks about it really. And the only time he did talk about it, he was super cryptic. Yeah, I love that.
If I come back from the first man walking on the moon, I know I forgot his name, right? But you're a big deal. You're a big bloody deal. You could like, I hope he didn't have a wife or anything.
What do you mean? He just walks around being
You go to the pub. You go to the pub being the first man that walked on the moon. You just got bitches hanging off you. You go to the casino. Everyone would love you. You could go to any dinner party. You could just walk in and be like, I'm Neil Armstrong. And they'll be like,
and if it doesn't work out,
come in.
You can do kids' birthday parties, dress up in the suit. People will say, do the line, do the line, do the line. And he'll go, it's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And then Will Smith slaps him.
He doesn't need the publicity. He doesn't need Will Smith. He's bigger than Will Smith. This is what I'm.
I think what you're dealing with here is a very nerdy man who was very successful in his astronauting and all of his background and stuff, who was getting Beatlemania'd, obviously, because he walked on the moon first.
Maybe that's
And he's like, I'm fucking off out of this shit. This is too much. Like, too many people want to talk to me about the moon.
He couldn't handle the popularity.
Buzz got it easy. Buzz got to have a normal-ish life and then punch a guy.
No. The normal life was the third guy that stayed in the thing orbiting the moon.
He'd be absolutely gutted.
We don't even know his name.
We don't even know his name. Hey, speaking of people we don't know their names, Joseph, Jesus' dad, Jesus' father. Last week we talked about him.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what happened to him.
Yeah, did he get assumpted?
Yeah, that was the notion, right? Surely he got assumpted because of his hard work and whatever. He should be assumpted, right? So I did a bit of digging on this. Now, if you type it into Google, you end up on a page called Saint Joseph. So that tells you one thing: he was canonized. He was made into a saint, right? That's one, right?
So who makes you into a saint? Isn't that like the church? But there was no church.
No, they made it after the
fact. They're like, for a few hundred years later, they said you're a good bloke. You're the man.
You get in. You're
special
in,
treatment.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know this, but I thought the angel only appeared to Mary, said, hey, God's coming over tomorrow. He's going to want to put himself, because he's one and the same with Jesus, into you, right?
Yes.
God's coming over tomorrow to plug himself into the matrix. Are you down? And she said, yes, of course, Father, no problem. Right?
Was this Archangel Gabriel?
Archangel Gabriel goes see Mary, says, Mary, God's going to come over tomorrow. Don't know what time. He's not very good with time. He sort of is time, but he'll be around anywhere between, say, 10 and 12. Look, my advice is if you need to go out and do stuff, do it in the morning, get it done really quickly, but try to be home for most of the day.
Because he will possess you like an evil spirit later on. Yeah.
And he wants to put Jesus inside you, which is also him. So he wants to plug himself into the matrix tomorrow. Are you cool with that?
Mary went out, did the shopping, got some groceries, came home, made a frittata, and then thought that had a seat and thought, well, he will be over shortly.
And boom, he was there.
Inside of her.
Yeah, done.
Yep.
Like, it's already done. So I didn't know that the angels also went and visited Joseph a few times, 4 times to be precise.
After she was knocked up, or
yeah. Well, during as well. Like there was one
explaining to do.
Yeah, hey, this is what's going on. The first dream, Joseph is told to not be afraid to take Mary as his wife because she was conceived by the Holy Spirit. Okay,
it's a bit slutty.
So no. He's just saying, look, stick around. Your wife's going to be the savior of the world's mother, and you're going to be the father.
Yeah.
Second dream he had, it was Joseph gets warned by the angel to leave Bethlehem and flee to Egypt. Get out, problems are happening, right?
Okay, during the pregnancy.
No. Oh, probably.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
probably. Then the third dream, while he's in Egypt, angel comes along and goes, you can go back to Israel now. It's all good.
Before the birth. After the birth.
I assume so. Come back.
Okay, so he's getting a lot of conflicting signals.
Oh, dude, he gets orders. Do this, do that.
I wonder what's happening.
You know, Mary gets conceived by the Holy Spirit and Joseph gets marching orders. He'd go here, do this, get this done. Fourth dream, he got warned in a dream. He awakens to depart for the region of Galilee instead of going to Judea. All right, so he's made a choice, fork in the road choice based off the dream. And then, right? Okay, so so what I wanted to find out, that was just a bit of trivia because Joseph also got visited by angels. That's now. Just wanted that in the manga, just so that we're all aware of it.
Okay.
So what happens after that is, because I wanted to know what happened to Joseph in his life, because presumably he gets assumpted at the end of this story, right?
Yeah, presumably. What do you know what occupation he had? Oh, he's a shepherd, right? Or was that Jesus?
He was a carpenter. Jesus Christ, man. We went to the same school. Yeah?
Joseph was a carpenter. Yeah. Okay.
And that's only in one of the Gospels.
Okay, and Jesus then followed suit, or he just was being a cool
Jesus
dude.
became the savior of the world. He was too busy at the age of 6 going and amazing all the people down at the library. People were going, who's this kid? How does he know so much? And he's like, it's because I'm the son of God, bro, who's also me. But don't worry about that. So I wanted to know what happened to him after all this happened, because surely he's got to be Jesus' dad for a bit. But there's very little mentions of him once Jesus is past being a child. And of course, there's a period where Jesus pretty much disappears from the Bible for a good almost 25 years and reappears when he's like 30, right? Comes back. And
really?
Yeah. He's not – there's a few early memories for him up until the age of like 7 or 8 or something, and then boom, nothing till he's 30. So he was busy boy.
So where was he?
Chilling. Being the son of God, man. Probably gathering like people to follow him and stuff at some point.
Yeah.
So
you got to spend a lot of time convincing people. Door knocking, door to door. There was no social media. He couldn't scale that up with like a big post or like some good photos.
Yeah. Catchy title, He didn't.
He had to rely on word of mouth.
Yeah, and so what he did, right? Mary, though, in all of the adult mentions of Jesus, she's apparently depicted wearing widow's outfit, and there's no mention of Joseph. There's no mention of Joseph in the Bible from when Jesus is an adult.
Are you saying Joseph was a bit of a absent father?
No, I'm saying he was dead.
Oh,
now he can't even cop a mention that the dad of Jesus died. Not even a mention.
So is that confirmed? So he's definitely.
What do you mean confirmed? It's confirmed that I can be. But
is that the Bible? Is that what the Bible says?
All right, let me read this out for you. The New Testament has no mention of Joseph's death, but he is never mentioned after Jesus' childhood, and Mary is always presented as by herself, often dressed as a widow. In other texts and art covering the period of the ministry and passion of Jesus, that's during that period. By contrast, the history of Joseph the carpenter from the 5th or 6th century has a long account of Joseph's peaceful death at the age of 111 in the presence of Jesus, aged about 19.
Who?
Means Joseph, was 92 years old when Jesus was born.
That's a bit gross.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
This is a bit.
So which one do you want? Do you want the New Testament version where he's no mention of his death, but he's never mentioned past childhood? Or do you want Joseph died in the presence of his son Jesus, who was aged about 20 at the time, and he was 111 years old?
I don't think he had the diet. to get to 111.
But if you look at all the depictions of Joseph, like all of the paintings and stuff, he's an old guy. Why is he an old boy?
How many children do you reckon he has? If he's 92, and what, Mary's like a saucy
Mary
little,
was a virgin.
like,
Mary was a virgin.
maybe he had multiple wives.
No. He's a good boy. He didn't get assumpted, but he's a good guy.
Did he wait? Do you reckon he has other children? Do you reckon he had another wife? So he waited till he was 92 till he found his life partner. Oh yeah.
I guess he never had children. He was.
Maybe he was infertile.
Maybe he was celibate. Maybe he was a 92-year-old fucking man. You know, that makes way more sense. They go. Did you hear Mary's pregnant? Mary with Joseph. He's like 92. Can he even have children? And they go, no, it's not his baby. It's God's baby. Oh, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, maybe
he's an old man. That makes no sense.
Lends into the theory, yeah.
God's baby makes way more sense. Thank you for clearing that up, please.
When you say God's baby, like the idea of monotheistic religions were pretty new. Like weren't most of the religions polytheistic and that they had heaps of gods?
Millions. Yeah, have millions.
So it's very difficult. It's a bigger sell to say, yeah, not only is this the Son of God living here on earth, but it's the only God.
Well, I don't know if he was going around saying that to everybody.
He's not even the son of the only God. He is the only God.
Yeah, he's the one and the same.
Yeah. It's a big claim.
Huge claim.
It's a big claim. It's the biggest claim.
It's bold. But I don't think he was doing it to get like free McNuggets or anything. I think he was doing it to try and, save everybody, I think was the idea.
Was he, or was he a charlatan?
Could have been. Could well have been.
Both. Could be both. He probably really believed it. You know what? You have to really believe it to go that. Oh, no, do you? I don't know.
What do you mean?
Could someone – I'm trying to think. I think a lot of people, when they do these things, these charlatan type activities, I think they really do believe it.
Sometimes,
I don't think too many people are just trying to take advantage of you. I think they convince themselves.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you don't really have the motive. A lot of people have – it's easier to do things if you're motivated by like a sense of belief rather than just a sense of being a jerk.
Absolutely. They may have to do that.
I'm a little bit lost on our time for this episode. I don't have it myself.
We're nearing the end now, but I thought I'd leave you with something.
Yeah, man.
We've had some pretty brutal storms not too long ago in our fine city. My parents live near the beach, so they've been struggling really hard with the wind. It was, threatening to take the roof off. Essentially, this wind, and because they're
a bit windy up there,
it's super windy. So, my mum, in amongst being scared of the wind and thinking that the house was going to fall over, she sort of said, "We don't need wind." And I started thinking about it, whether or not we actually need wind. Turns out you do.
I reckon you need some wind. Yeah.
Apart from wind power, which is great. We all agree it's great, right?
Yeah.
What's wind doing, really? Right? That's what my mum's point is. She's like, fuck it off. Can we invent something? That's what I was thinking now. I was like, well, maybe I could invent something that can get rid of the wind for my mother.
Like a big plastic box.
No. I'm talking like fix wind forever. Like get rid of it.
You still want air, right?
No. Time for air is over. We're getting rid of wind.
Getting rid of rid.
My mum's had a gut full of the wind, bro. She wants it gone. All right, so we're getting rid of it. We're not just fixing it.
Okay, all right. We're going to other than the oxygen part of everything, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
So.
Other than the oxygen deficiency.
I looked into because I'm a responsible, inventor.
Of course you are.
I looked into what would actually happen if wind stopped. Had a bit of a deep dive into what would happen if the wind stopped, right? Now, it apparently, in the beginning, not much, right? In the first few minutes or whatever, not a lot of problems, right? The kites would come out of the sky. They'd just drop out of the sky, kites. So if you're into kites, Soz, it's over. Wind's going.
That's not so bad.
Stuff would stop blowing around, sailing ships would be stuck, and the temperature of most rooms would increase or decrease slightly. Right?
Trees would stop rustling.
Yeah, so there you go. It's another thing.
Okay. Temperature goes up. Okay.
After a little bit of time, the last waves would hit the shore, leaving the sea pretty much still. So the sea's now still. Yeah, beautiful. No tornadoes.
Surfers aren't so happy.
Yeah, but no tornadoes, no hurricanes. So it's pretty good so far, right? You just can't go kite flying and sail ships and stuff, but everything else is solid. This guy then says, after a few days, the problem arrives. Without wind systems, warm, moist air won't move around. Water might still evaporate, but it won't travel, meaning anywhere away from a large body of water will dry up. Anywhere. Lakes might be all right, as the evaporating water will fall back into them and the sea will be fine because...
so it's just going straight up and straight down.
Yeah. But everything else gets really dry really quickly, apparently.
Yeah.
Plants and animals will slowly die from dehydration, with most water inaccessible as salt water or ice. So a lot of seawater, can't drink it. Even if we survive this, the problems don't stop. The equator will no longer shed its heat as quickly, so it will become very warm. Mountains may remain cool enough to be habitable, but nowhere else will. At the same time, the poles, deprived of heat from the equator, will freeze solid. All right?
Okay.
So I had to break it to my mum, dude.
Well, that's good for the poles, though. We need a bit more ice up there.
Yeah, but we can't. But we need
warming point of view. Yeah, what'd your mum say?
Well, no, what do you think, man? Do you think we should keep the wind or bin it?
Well, we were just saying earlier in the episode that you got to try everything, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying give it a go without the wind?
Give it a go. Like give it Star Trek, give it Star Wars. Yeah. Let's do 2 days. Let's see how bad it gets.
Well, and then crank it back up if it doesn't work.
Yeah, crank the wind back up.
There you go. We're giving it a go. Probably. Good job, man.
Thank you. It's a good time. It was lovely being here.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Very pleasant evening.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Catch you later.